Hello everyone, my name is Akash Pandey and I am from Aasoka, which is also a part of MBD group. And you know that MBD group or Aasoka is one of the leading edtech companies. With this only, I welcome you all to our today's training session that we are going to have. As you know, CBSE announced one of the mandatory training frameworks for the academic year 2025 along with its annual training theme. So in our today's training session, we'll be discussing what this new training framework is going to be and how this training framework is going to be in the year 2025. This is going to something that we'll be discussing. But before we get started, I have some of the rules that I would request you to follow during this training session. The very first rule is very simple. When you are sitting to attend this training, please make sure that you are sitting with a pen and a paper, or I would say a register and a copy, so that you don't have to take the screenshot of this video while attending it. You can just simply note down all the information that we are sharing. Also, if you are facing any kind of internet issues while watching this video or while attending this training, make sure that you try to sit at a place where you are having better connectivity. So these are two simple rules that I would request that we should we should all follow this. Now let's continue with the another one. So here is the agenda of the training that we are going to have in today's session. First of all, we'll be discussing what are some of the specific terms that you'll be finding in the circular sent by CBSE on 1st April 2025. Also, we'll be understanding the new training framework by CBSE, what is going to be, how it is. We'll also be deep diving, or we'll be understanding the particular theme for this year, what the theme is going to be. Also, we'll be understanding the implementation of the same on the ground level. And if you have any kind of questions during this session, what you can do is you can drop them in the comment box, or we can have a Q&A round at the end. So these are the objectives of the session that we will be having or will be focusing on in our today's training session. Now we'll continue with the very first one objective, which is the terms. So let's understand some terms that we are going to use in this training session today. The very first one is going to be NEP. Now, as everyone is aware of it, NEP stands for National Education Policy. I would just add one thing, which is National Education Policy 2020. As you all know that National Education Policy 2020 focuses on so many things. For example, it focuses on the technology integration in the classroom, it focuses on the STEM education, it focuses on how the teachers have to make sure that the students are able to have the different kind of skills in the 21st century. So it focuses on that. So this is also going to be one of the terms that we'll be focusing on. Next term is going to be NPST. Now NPST stands for National Professional Standards for Teachers. Now what the NPST are going to be, we'll be discussing that in the further training session. Next term is going to be OASIS. Now what OASIS is, so as a school person, you all are aware of that whenever there is any kind of training that is being conducted in your school, so you keep the record of that. Now when you keep the record of that, what you do is you update it on the OASIS portal. So OASIS stands for Online Affiliated School Information System, which is there. Next we have SQP and CBP. Now when it comes to SQP and CBP, SQP stands for Sample Question Papers and CBP stands for Capacity Building Program, which are the part of CPD. CPD as in Continuous Professional Development, which is again the part of training framework where we have to focus on our continuous professional development. And finally, and the last term that we are going to focus on is STEM. Now STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. This year, or I would say in these days, you will be finding that this is one of the major topics that everybody is discussing. The STEM education, why they are discussing, what it is, how it is going to be, and why we have chosen this here in the term section We'll be talking about all these things again in the training session itself. So I hope that we all are clear with this and we have understood the terms which are going to be used in the today's training session. Great. Now let's continue with the second topic or the second objective, which is related to the new training framework. Here you can see on the screen behind me that the new training framework contains total 50 hours of CPD, again 50 hours of continuous professional development, which are further divided into two different segments. The very first one is by CBSE and the government regional training institutes for 25 hours, or the in-house training sessions for 25 hours. In total, if you see, it will become 50 hours, which means that in the year 2025 or in the year 2025, what the teachers have to do is they have to complete their 50 hours, out of which 25 hours of training will be conducted by either CBSE or the government regional training institutes on some of the domains or some of the specific topics that have been given in those domains. What they are going to be, we'll be discussing again further, and then 25 hours are going to be the in-house training following the same domains. So in total there will be 3 domains: domain 1, domain 2 and domain 3. What the domain are going to be, again we'll be discussing ahead. Now let's continue with the another pointer that we have in the continuation, that is the annual training theme. So 50 hours of the training every teacher has to complete in the year, right? Now what the training theme for this year is going to be, that is going to be STEM education, as I mentioned in the beginning as well. So the acronym that was given or the term that was given was STEM. So why we chose that? Because for this year CBSE, like in a forward, if you see here, in a forward looking step aligned with India's growing knowledge economy, CBSE has declared STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering and mathematics, as the annual training theme for 2025. So this year the training theme that has been chosen is going to be about STEM education. Now why we have chosen? Because the focus is on empowering teachers with strategies to integrate experiential learning, inquiry based learning and interdisciplinary approaches in the classroom. So it means what is going to happen, as we know that we are living in 21st century, right, which is a fast growing world, or I would say that which is somehow, you know, being overtaken by the AI, right? So you'll be finding that AI is everywhere, technology is everywhere. So what we have to do is we have to be STEM ready for that. It means our technology, I would say we should be tech savvy, right? We should be able to understand the concept in the proper way. So that is why this is going to be the annual training theme. Now how this is going to be implemented on the ground level, as I was mentioning, there are going to be different domains. So now let's understand how these domains are going to help me. So here you'll be finding that these are going to be 3 different domains. This will be domain 1, this is going to be domain 2 and domain 3. The first domain's name is core values and ethics, which completely depends on the core values and ethics. Second domain focuses on the knowledge and the practice, which is subject specific. And the third domain focuses on the professional growth and development. All these have been divided into some different time duration, I would say again. So the first is about 12 hours, the second one is about 24 hours and the third one is about 14 hours. Now understand it differently, or let's focus on the separation of these 12 hours, 24 hours and 14 hours. So here first of all you will be finding that 25 hours of training will be conducted by CBSE and 25 hours is going to be in-house training. In 25 hours, when it comes to CBSE 1, what the teachers have to do is teachers have to complete a 6 hours of offline training on the topics given in annexure 1. Now there are some topics that are given in annexure 1. We'll be talking about that as well. We'll be looking at what are the topics given in annexure 1. For that, what the teachers or the schools have to do is, schools basically have to register their teachers on the CBSE training portal, choosing one of the topics given in annexure 1. Okay, so here you'll be finding, let me show you. So this is annexure 1, where you'll find that annexure 1 basically focus on the core values and ethics. Here we have different types of topics given. The very first one is adolescent education program. The second one is ethics and integrity, gender sensitivity, inclusive education, life skills advanced and basic, promoting mental health and wellness among students, school health and wellness, and last is value education. You'll be finding that all these topics focus on the core values and the ethics along with the integrity of the teachers and the students as well, or I would say in our general life they focus on the ethics, right? So here what you have to do is, schools have to register their teachers on the on the training portal, and what they will do is, they will be selecting one of the topics and they are going to attend the training by CBSE, which is going to be offline for 6 hours. Now there is something that I would like to clear here. So you'll be finding that the very first topic which is given here, adolescent education program, the duration is for 2 days and 12 hours. Now you must be having one question in your mind, that by CBSE if I am attending my 12 hours, it means that my 12 hours in the first domain, core and values, are automatically being completed. Then the answer to this question is going to be no, directly, because this training is for 2 days. However, it will be considered as 6 hours of training only, even if it is for 2 days and 12 hours. If you attend this training only for 1 day for 6 hours, you will not get any kind of certification for that. You'll have to you'll have to complete it for continuous 2 days. That's how you will be getting it. Now similarly, in the similar portion you'll be finding when it comes to in-house training. So for in-house training, what you have to do is, again you have to complete 6 hours of either offline training or online training. So here you have a choice given here, that when there is any training which is being conducted in school or a group of school, if they are if they are organizing the training session together, then it can be either online or offline, but 6 hours of training should be there, in which again you have to focus on the topics that are given in annexure 1, or there can be other topics aligned with the NPST standard, which is core values and ethics, and then the schools have to update the training records on the OSS portal. So in this, what you have to do is, you either go for the topics that are given in annexure 1, which I showed you just prior to this as well, or you can choose some different topics that are aligned with NPST guidelines. So I hope we are clear with this. Great. Now let's continue with the second domain. Now here the second domain completely focuses on the knowledge and the practice. Now when it comes to knowledge and the practice, here we are focusing on the subject specific knowledge. In this, what the teachers have to do is, teachers have to complete their 16 hours of total training by CBSE, in which you will be finding offline should be for 12 hours subject specific. Now here subject specific, when it comes to that, so whatever the topics given in annexure 2, you have to focus on those topics. Now let me show you that what are the topics given in annexure 2. So prior to that, let's say I am a biology teacher, right? Now what I will do is, if there is this list of annexure 2, there will be multiple topics related to biology. Now what I have to do is, I have to attend only those subject specific topics that cater the needs of biology. For example, what kind of pedagogies I should follow in the classroom, what kind of strategies I can go for. So this is something which is helping me to increase my subject knowledge. So what I have to do is, I have to attend offline training for 12 hours from CBSE on the topics given in annexure 2. And in the same portion, what is going to happen, I have a choice for either offline or online for 4 hours on other topics in the list given annexure 2. Again, so 12 hours, as it is mentioned here, 12 hours are strictly related to the offline training related to the subject specific topics. However, for 4 hours there is a choice. I can go for the different topics, but the topics should be from annexure 2 itself. Now for same process, schools have to register their teachers on the training portal which is given there. Let me show you now some topics that are given here. So first of all, here you will be finding that there is a list of different subjects. Let me just highlight it for you. For example, here you will be finding biology senior secondary classes for 2 days, 12 hours, right? Secondly, here you will be finding chemistry, you will be finding environmental studies, physics, Python, mathematics, science, mathematics, joyful mathematics, and so on. So all these topics are subject specific, which are helping the subject teachers to improve their subject knowledge. Similarly, you will be finding that there are some topics that are again given in annexure 2, but these are not related to my subjects but the other topics. For example, here you will be finding school library, which is for 1 day 6 hours, then active learning for 1 day, then art integration, competency based assessment, critical and creative thinking for 2 days 12 hours. Now all these topics are from domain 2, which means knowledge and practice, the subject specific one. So this is how what you have to do is you have to complete your 16 hours of training from CBSE by following the annexure 2 list. In the same way, when it comes to in-house training, here what you have to do is here you have to complete your 8 hours, out of which 6 hours are going to be offline, and for 2 hours you have a choice of either offline or online. In this, again, what you have to do is it can be organized by a particular school or the group of schools on topics in list 2 or annexure 2, as I showed you just now, or what you can do is you can go for other topics aligned with the NPST standard and update the training records on the OSS portal. So what you have to do is same process you have to follow in in-house training as well, but the numbers of hours are going to be 8 hours, out of which 6 hours are mandatory in offline mode and 2 hours can be offline or online. You have a choice given in that. So this was all about domain 2. Now finally, when it comes to domain 3, which is all about professional growth and development, in this you will be finding that 3 hours of training will be conducted by CBSE. Now in this you have a choice if you want to go for offline or online. So offline is not mandatory in this, it's like offline and online both are there. However, what you have to do is in this as well, the programs from list 3 or the annexure 3, so whatever the topics are given in annexure 3, you have to go for those topics. And here again schools have to register their teachers on the CBSE training portal. Now let me show you what are the topics that are given in annexure 3. So in annexure 3 you will be finding that these are the topics like National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2023, National Curriculum Framework for Foundational Stage, Theory of Knowledge, National Education Policy 2020, Happy Classroom, Stress Management, Classroom Management, Career Guidance, Induction Training Program, Guru Dakshata, Leading Transformation, Academic Oriented Assignment, Evaluation of Answer Books of Class 10th and 12th Board Examination, counted as CPD list. So if you are doing any of these things by CBSE for 3 hours, you will be getting your training certification, which is part of third domain, professional growth and development. You must be finding that all those topics are helping you to grow professionally, right? Now when it comes to the school or the in-house training, for that what you have to do is here you have to complete total of 11 hours. How many hours? So total 11 hours, and here you have 3 hours, so in total it becomes आपका 14 hours. Now in 11 hours what you have to do is you have a choice to engage yourself in the training sessions either in offline mode or the online mode. You have the list given in the annexure 3. So you have a choice on that. You can either go for the topics that are given in annexure 3 or the other topics aligned with NPST standard, which is professional growth and development, following the academic activities by teachers and principals can also be counted in this CPD, which means that if you are completing your 11 hours, what you have to do is in-house, either you can go for the topics given in annexure 3, or what you can do is you can become the part of academically inclined activities or the tasks that are given as per this table. Now I'll be explaining this table. Let's say there is this academically inclined or developmental tasks that are assigned to you. Now there are some duties, you know, like as a teacher there are some duties that we get from ROs, that we get from CBSE itself, right? So there are some duties that we have to do. For example, sometimes I have to become the part of discussion, sometimes I have to check the question paper, sometimes what I have to do is I have to act like a resource person, right? RP. So in all these things, I am what I am doing is I am developing myself in a professional way, or my professional growth is happening in that way. So this is how you will be completing your some hours of CPD, as it is mentioned here, continuous professional development. So let's say here board examination evaluation duty as examiner AHE for the entire duty assigned by RO. If you are working as an board examination evaluation or फिर board examination examiner, right? So in that case you will be completing your 6 hours. I hope that's clear. Secondly, if you are becoming the part of SQP, for example, if you are creating sample question papers, if you are becoming the part of marking scheme, if you are developing any kind of, you know, items, so the item development, question bank, CBP curriculum review, e-content, resource materials, practical examiner assigned by CBSE, any duty, so you will be completing your 3 hours if you are engaged in that. Next point, if you are becoming the part of any research projects in classroom, mentoring or guiding fellow teachers, writing reflective journals, writing blogs on teaching experiences, participation in online educational discussions or paper publication, in that case again what is happening, you are completing your 2 hours, because all these tasks are helping you to grow professionally. Next, if you are engaged as a resource person for conducting CBSE CBPs, capacity building programs, if let's say you attended any training, let's say you attended TOT program, right? Now as a resource person, what you are doing is you are going to conduct any kind of different trainings, right? Here for example CBP. So if you are giving your 3 hours in that, you will be getting the certifications again for the same thing. So what will happen here, you are completing your 3 hours in that. If you are viewing DDPM eVidya channel CBSE 15, which is CBSE's channel, if you are viewing that, right? So for that, then online sessions such as 𝐒𝐿Vya 3030 STEM education. So in that, what is happening, if you are engaged in that activity, you are completing your 3 hours. Next is integrating technology into teaching. If you are a teacher and you are integrating technology in your teaching skills, right, for 2 hours, it means that what you are doing is you are completing your CPD again, or you are completing your training hours in that. Next is if you are preparing presentations, participation in CBSE national conferences, and again for this what you are doing is you are completing your 3 hours. So you will see here that the total of these training hours is 22. However, as CBSE mentioned here, you have to complete only 11 hours of training out of these 22 hours. So it depends, if you are doing any of these tasks for 11 hours, you are completing your training hours, right? You are completing your 50 hours of training by following this table and the concept which is given in this. Finally, you will see here that it is also mentioned only 11 hours will be considered, and schools will keep records for the verification. Means whatever the things or whatever the trainings are being conducted, you have to keep the record of each and everything along with these CPD topics that are given in this. So I hope that we are clear with all these things. So this is something that we had in this, right? So this is annexure 1, again related to core values and ethics. This is annexure 2 related to subject specific topics and other topics, whatever the ones that you want to go. Either you can go for the subject specific topics or you can go for any different kind of topics in the classroom, right? Next is annexure 3, which is related to professional growth and development. So these things are there, and this is how this new training framework is going to be in our academic year 2025. Why? As I already mentioned here, CBSE reiterates its commitment to a future ready education system. As I mentioned in the beginning itself, we are living in 21st century, right? So in 21st century here, we have different kinds of needs that we require as a teacher and the student. So CBSE reiterates its commitment for or to a future ready education system by empowering educators, strengthening leadership, and making learning more and meaningful and engaging. So here what is happening? So CBSE is helping us to make learning more engaging and effective in the classroom. So this is how we have to focus on this training framework, and that's how it will be implemented on the ground level. I hope that whatever the questions you had before this training in your mind, all the questions might have been cleared. And if you still have any questions, then you are welcome to drop your questions in the comment box. And if you do not have, then we will be very happy with that as well, that we were able to help you. So thank you so much for this. Thank you.